Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Radio Geonosis, where we talk about Star Wars from a certain point of view. I am Angie.
I'm David.
I'm man. What's up, guys?
And today we are going to be going over our 5 favorite ships. But before we do that, we have some hot happenings in Star Wars this week. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about mine first before David gets in there.
Yours is probably like one of the only 2 I have. But go on, it's still content.
No,
Just don't make me feel bad because I only brought one now.
I was able to go back to Disneyland After Dark again on the 9th. It was so much fun. I had a really, really good time. They had a great fireworks show. If they do it again, I would love to go again. And I mean, I was really happy that they had all the clubs there and that everybody was able to do the parade. It was a blast. I really had a good time. I had Ashley Eckstein sign a book for me. I was very... Ahsoka Tano signed a book.
Wait, you did what?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that part yet.
Yeah, Ashley.
Really?
It was on Facebook.
Did you get a picture? You got a picture with her?
I have a picture with her.
That's awesome.
So I was really, David's going to look it up now. So I was really excited about that.
I'm continuing doing stuff.
That's
And
awesome, though.
this coming Saturday, Radio Geonosis will be at Star Wars Read Day in Rancho Cucamonga.
Yay!
Yes. For their big event that they have there. So if everybody can make it out, that would be great. It is Saturday the 26th. Yes. Now on the 25th, what do we got going on? We got Han Solo.
Yes, we do. We got Han.
Yes. So I'm really excited. All kinds of great things going on. What's going on this week? Deadpool. We got Deadpool released. So
I might be going tonight.
Really?
I'm actually
oh my God, I'm jealous.
I'm actually solidifying
so on top of opening up that drink, you're...
So what you're saying is you're going to hook someone up.
Yeah.
I want to see that so bad.
Yeah.
Now, we heard where Star Wars Celebration is going to be. David, do you want to announce that?
Chicago.
Chi-Town.
Yeah, in Chi-Town.
Yeah,
or the
Chi-Town.
Windy City.
The Windy City, also known as the Windy City.
Yeah, I don't really think that I'm going to go. I thought about it for a minute, and I was a little sad that it wasn't in Anaheim, but then I thought, that's kind of a selfish thing because we're going to have Galaxy's Edge opening up in 2019 at Disneyland where we'll have Star Wars all the time.
Yeah, they won't.
And they won't. So, I mean, and a lot of folks... They didn't come out here to California when Celebration was here, and they weren't in Florida when it was there. So now it's their time to shine. So I'm all right with that.
Let them go have that.
Yeah, let them have that.
Those natives.
It's going to be very exciting, and I'm sure Chicago is beautiful, but I'm going to pass just because there's just too much going on, and someone's got to hold down the fort.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm going to stay here in Cali.
Yeah.
All right, David.
Yeah, I am. Hold on, I'm getting it. Hold on.
I got to Google it.
That's the internet. I'm not connected to the internet right now.
Oh, you want?
Okay, so you don't have it on.
Here?
No, but I'll get it eventually.
Okay, so off the top of your head, you.
No, it's about Solo. It's
which I
the
think is going
review
to be
came
great.
out for it.
And I have a feeling that Obi-Wan is going to make a little bit of a appearance there. Even though they're going back and forth. I've heard people writing today that I have a feeling that the movies, they're going to do an Obi-Wan movie. And I think they're going to kind of hint to it in Solo. Okay. Which I'm knock on wood.
I hope that happens too. But I was telling her, I was like, everything is set up to where Han Solo meets Obi-Wan Kenobi in the cantina on New Hope.
Okay, which doesn't make any sense because does not Obi-Wan know Chewbacca? Yes, he does.
Okay.
He does.
I didn't say you were wrong.
School this man all the time.
No,
yes,
you don't.
He does.
I'm the one who does the schooling. Anyways, Solo currently has, I think it's a 73% on Rotten Tomatoes, which isn't bad.
I actually think it's going to do a lot better than
Rotten Tomatoes, they're harsh sometimes.
Yeah, they are. And
they loved The Last Jedi. I think it had like a 98% or something for like 3 weeks.
Really what happened?
They didn't like Rogue One, I don't think.
Well, no.
Rogue One was a little higher than that, though. It was like 80, I think.
Rogue One had a higher score, but the critics, it was still like the critics didn't like it, but the fans
they took
were still split too, but there was more fans who liked it.
More fans that like it. And now with The Last Jedi, more fans hated that movie, but Rotten Tomatoes liked it.
Yeah, because it was like that's what always my argument for Last Jedi is Last Jedi is an amazing, critically acclaimed movie. It's just not a very good Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
But I still love it. I'm kind of burned out on it because I've watched it so much now, but I still like it.
Sadly, I've only watched it twice.
Really?
3 times, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to watch it again. I don't like the fact, and I mean, some people love it, some people don't. I don't like the fact that Luke seems very conflicted and is confused. I just really don't like that.
Yeah.
I like that, but it would have been way better if they showed him like getting over that.
Yeah.
Which they kind of do, but then he offs himself in the process.
Yeah.
You don't really see that.
You just spilled that out, and people don't know that. They haven't seen the movie yet.
Oh, you know what? It's been 5 months. They haven't seen The Last Jedi and are listening to a Star Wars podcast. No mercy from me.
Challenger into Thanos.
Exactly. Oh yeah, 50% of you just.
So I'm all right with it. Just I don't know. A lot of people don't like movies 1, 2, and 3, and I love them. I really do because
they're so awesome. They have those best characters.
But they don't like them. A lot of people they say they don't watch those. They don't like them. Well, it's too bad, And,
it is too
because
bad.
there is. There's a lot of good things in that movie, and you have a lot from that. You get a lot from that. So I'm all right with it.
I will never mention it on air unless somebody specifically asks, but I have aggressive feelings towards people who say they're huge Star Wars fans, and then they go, "Well, I don't count these movies." And it's like,
how do you not count those movies?
Yeah, you have to, because just like what I'm pointing out right now, when Obi-Wan is talking to Chewbacca in the bar, they know each other.
Yeah.
They know each other from the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And even the droids hint to being in the Clone Wars. So these people are all joined together.
Yeah.
And R2-D2 claims to be owned by Obi-Wan.
You know what I'm gonna do right now? I'm just gonna you guys keep vamping. I'm gonna look something up. And if you see me freak out, I won't say anything, but if you see me freak out, you might know what I look up.
Are you looking up a fact right now?
I'm looking up a fact.
There was some Star Wars news too with EA Sports.
Ooh.
Star Wars games.
What, EA Sports and Star Wars?
Well, not
games?
EA Sports. Well, EA.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I said EA Sports, but EA. They're gonna.
Now that I think of that, EA Sports doing a pod racing game.
Yeah, that would be dope. But yeah, they're gonna start amping up the Star Wars gaming process.
Really?
And it's crazy how we were just talking about that just consecutively 2 weeks. Me and David had our quarrels about there not being enough games or there need to be more, and then the universe heard us, and they're gonna go back and they're gonna go back, assemble a whole new team, and start making some.
So they announced that just recently.
Star Wars IPs, yeah. It was on GameInformer.com. I just saw it maybe 3-4 days ago.
Did they do Battlefront?
Yeah, they did.
They did Battlefront.
They did, and Battlefront. I think Battlefront 2 being so much better than the first one, even though people still didn't like Battlefront 2, is just so much better than the other one that came out a year and a half ago. That got them. I guess that got their juices flowing again to go back, open up some things that they had in the cave, and try to bring them to fruition again. So I found that pretty cool. Someone heard us. Someone was listening.
To me, it seems David's got it. To me, it seems like.
Oh no, I don't got it. Everything's still under embargo. I was gonna look up some spoilers for Solo.
God, I can't even believe you want to spill that stuff.
I wasn't going to spill to anybody. I was just going to see if certain accusations were true.
Don't do it to yourself, Dave.
Well, you mean what I said about what I think?
Yeah, I was just going to see.
And a friend of mine...
I was going to taunt her.
A friend of mine told me that quite possibly when they do the Obi-Wan movie, that they're going to do it based on the book, Kenobi.
Okay.
They're going to be loosely... And I'm really excited. If that's the case... That is going to be a great movie because it's so spaghetti western. I really, really like it. I mean, I loved the book, and it made me fall in love with wanting to read more about Star Wars because the book was really good.
Yeah,
and I'm excited if that's the case.
Yeah, I'm pretty much positive that's going to be the next.
That has to be the next and last anthology.
And I had a lot of friends go to the movie premiere. They were fortunate enough to go. And you know who walked by and my friend got a picture? Ewan McGregor.
Oh,
he
really?
walked right by him and he took a picture of him and he put it on Facebook. I'm like, okay, my eyes just fell out.
You need to send me this picture. You need to copy it and message it to me.
You saw the movie?
Yes, my friends have seen the movie. Yes.
What they say?
They're being kind enough not to say anything.
To say, oh wow.
Yeah, being kind enough not to say. A lot of us, when I went to see The Last Jedi, that was the one thing that we all promised, and everybody was talking about it, how it's not right. We were lucky enough to go to the movie premiere.
Yeah.
Not to say anything, because it's not fair to the people who haven't seen it.
Not at all.
They want to be able to have that surprise. Now, if the movie's been out for a week or two and people spill, well, then you know what? I give it to them, you know, because you had 2 weeks to see it.
Exactly. You had 14 days.
That's right.
You had 2 weeks. You had 14 days to see it.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm really hoping. I think we're going to see some sort of Kenobi something or other there. I honestly do, to indicate that this movie is coming out. And why would Ewan McGregor be there? There would be absolutely no reason for him to be there.
That's even if it's confirmed he was there, because I've seen
I'm telling
nothing.
you.
Rapid fire. Other than the Kenobi anthology, what would you guys want to see? Quick, top your head.
Boba Fett.
What would you think?
You know what?
Oh no, Sidious. Oh no. Ooh.
No, you're done. You said 2.
Qui-Gon.
What would be your third one?
I'm so Old Republic.
A third one would be...
You said 2, so what would be
a third one, I would go Old Republic, and it would be like... maybe a trilogy of movies about the Jedi and Mandalorian War or something. Or Bane. Bane would be a great...
I would say Mandalorian
Bane would make
War.
like a kick-ass Netflix series.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, do it.
That would be great. Oh, it's funny you mentioned the EA thing, though, because... You know what I'm waiting for?
What is
like 3 weeks from now is E3. That's when I do all the game stuff.
Yeah.
And I already have... I'm not going to bring it all up here because it's not really relevant, but I already have a thing going on with E3 right now that my mind's going to be blown the day it happens.
Yeah.
And then I keep realizing
tickets.
That...
Oh my gosh.
What is it?
They're $1,000.
It's a convention, but it's kind of like a convention. It's an expo. It's a 3E expo.
Though. It's so exclusive just for like game.
It's for like how they work it is like developers get first pick or something like that. Like actual game industry gets first pick.
Yeah, game industry.
And then they go to the publication industry, people who like write on video games and stuff. And then they have tickets left over for gamers, like people who just want to come.
And the gamer,
it's kind of like
$500.
And it's kind of like Comic-Con in the sense that it's not so much a convention anymore. But it's where you go to, like, that's where they're announcing every new release.
New games.
It's
like what they do...
new tech along with, like, new tech, too.
Yeah.
There's another one that they do. A friend of mine goes to it. It's some sort of gaming thing, and they had it in Anaheim. So I'm not...
Oh, yeah. It's like, that's the GameStop.
BlizzCon.
Oh, yeah, BlizzCon. Okay.
Yeah, that's a big thing, too. I remember a couple years ago, we went to, I think it was Stan Lee Comic-Con, I think that's what it was. And right next to it at the Staples Center was a League of Legends event. Nice bag there.
I got it out of the way quickly.
It was a League of Legends event, and it was completely sold out. It completely sold out the Staples Center.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
There was so many people in line. It was crazy. And here you have this big event going on right next door at the convention center, and then you have at the Staples Center. I mean, they're like right next to each other.
Right there,
there was the parking was insane.
Oh my gosh!
It was packed. I mean, people enjoy watching the games, being part of it. My son watches all the time.
Does he?
Yes.
He watches like the live videos and stuff.
He watches the gamer guys. Yeah.
It was crazy when it was WonderCon and the people at Disneyland like leaving Disneyland were like, what's going on here? It was like, it's WonderCon. It's a WonderCon adventure going on. Like, what is that?
Yeah, a lot of people have no idea. We're all showing up in these get-ups.
Yeah, and the kids are just looking like, oh, that's all. Like, what is going on across the street? It's like, oh, it's WonderCon. Huh?
They're like, oh my gosh, like, Mom, Dad, we want to go.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so today we're doing our favorite ships. Aaron, you're going to go first.
Yes, and I do. And mine
we're sending you to the guillotine first.
Mine's are pretty basic. I'm going with the ones that, like, when I first saw Star Wars, what I wanted to get in. So that's kind of how So they're pretty like they're old school ships. One is going to be the X-Wing. That's the first one for me because I remember when I first saw the X-Wing and I seen it open up. I was tripping out. I was like, how many wings does this ship have? So I'm gonna go with the X-Wing, and and like we go back to games, like that's the ship they start you off with in the game. They
really?
start you off with the X-Wing. Yeah, I mean, it's either the X-Wing or it's the
Rogue Squadron.
They
both start with X-Wings.
They both start with X-Wing, and even the Y-Wing too. You can even choose like the Y-Wing, which is my second ship. Is the Y-Wing. That's number 2 for me.
Is that like the Y-Wing? Is it a little bit like Kylo's ship?
No, it's the one that's like in the Clone Wars and it might be in here.
Yeah, it actually might be
somewhere.
in there. It actually might
there.
Okay.
The Y-Wing, yeah.
That's why I brought this book, so I can.
I'm actually gonna take a look at that book when it's not my turn. I'm gonna go with the TIE Fighter just because the TIE Fighter holds so much. You know, the TIE Fighters are real.
Aaron, you're
mystical.
a man after my own heart.
The TIE Fighters are mystical kind of shit to me. Just the noise it makes.
Yes.
Finding out what the actual noise was when we did that other episode. When I found out it was like an elephant call mixed with something else. That was crazy.
Pavement. A car on wet pavement.
A screeching sloth.
But the TIE Fighters move like this. It's so crazy to me. They just really move like that.
Yeah, they're like really angular.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy how they move. So I'm going with the TIE Fighter as 3. I am going with the Millennium Falcon as...
Which I can't pronounce, but...
the Millennium Falcon.
Aluminum Falcon.
Aluminum Falcon. I said artery batteries. But the Millennium Falcon, just because I didn't think the Millennium Falcon could move the way it does for being such a huge ship like that. Did you notice that Millennium Falcon can get out of anything?
Yes. It's like a pancake.
It's really, it's out of, and it's so. I think that's what the thing behind it is. Like, this big ship.
But we know what Lando did to it. Tore off.
Lando. And then I'm going with the Imperial Star Destroyer 5 only because in Star Wars Force Unleashed you get to bring it down, and it's such a powerful ship, especially during that time. The Star Destroyer was almost like... what was the ship in The Last Jedi? He's taking down
the Supremacy? The big ass one?
Yeah. So, but around this time, like, the Star Destroyer was like... When the Star Destroyer came out of hyperspace, everybody panicked. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, because you knew you were in trouble.
You knew you were in trouble. Like, especially when 3 of them just popped out of hyperspace. But then Star Wars Force Unleashed, you brung one down by yourself. So I'm going with that.
You know what I find kind of strange? I just thought about that, when ships come out of hyperspace, when you're on a Disneyland ride and you're coming out, especially on that the new one where you're you kind of go forward. Does everybody in the ship go forward?
I think so. I think everyone's pretty much braced. Yeah, I would assume.
No, wait, are you talking about inertia in space?
Yeah, I'm talking about because they're coming out of hyperspace, so. When the ships show up and they're like all of a sudden
they pops up.
They stop. They abruptly stop. Does everybody in the ship, if you're not holding on to something, you're in trouble?
I'm guessing you slide across that floor. You slide across that nicely mopped floor.
Yeah, they have all those handles. Everybody hanging on.
And everyone has a station where they're sitting down.
I wonder if there's like something that a light blinks to indicate we're about ready to come out of hyperspace. You better hold on to something.
Keep all arms and legs inside your cubicle.
I can tell you this in a second. Let me see.
That's what I'm assuming, though. We could be wrong, but I'm assuming so. Like, hyperspace is no joke, especially in a big ship like that.
Yeah.
You assume, like, that backlash or whiplash might be intense.
I'm almost thinking that in on the Falcon that they were saying we're about ready to come out of hyperspace. I think in one of the movies he indicates that so that everybody you better sit down.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Or else you're going to go flying across the room.
Yeah, and they're pressing this like, we're coming out of hyperspace. He's all touching the buttons at the top.
Yeah, and then they go sit down in the back.
Yeah, they take a seat. They sit down. They sit down.
Keep all the hands and legs in the cubicle.
Please. Those are my ships. Those are my ships.
Yeah. Okay, do you want me to go with mine or you want to go next?
I can go next, I guess.
Huh?
I can go next.
Okay, go next, because since I wrote a novel.
These are in no particular order. These are just ships.
You never do anything in particular order.
I know, because
the OCD guy doesn't do anything in particular order.
Because there's no way to catalog things based on beauty and all that. So, my first one is the Defender class light Corvette. It looks like this.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I know what it is.
It's kind of like it's from the Old Republic. It's kind of like the one that Qui-Gon and them were on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but don't they? Oh no, I'm thinking about the one that looks like the Hammerhead. The Hammerhead one that pushes the ships.
Oh, it's from the same era actually. Yeah, if we consider those ships canon from that's a long story.
They're in, they're out, they're in, they're. I can't keep up.
one of my other favorites was...
And that by the way, that is in. The Hammerhead is in because they use it in Rogue One.
Yeah. The Hammerhead's canon now. We just don't know if it's... Because it first appeared in Knights of the Old Republic, which was like 4,000 years ago. So we don't know if they're canonizing that as well. Like, that's when it comes from.
Let's
or
hope.
Let's hope.
Yeah, I hope.
This is a prayer.
Another one of mine is the Fire Spray 31. That's the Boba Fett ship.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the class of ship it is.
But I think it's called the Slave One, isn't
Yeah, that's
it?
what he named it.
One. Yeah,
the
Slave
One.
One.
I don't go in for individual ships. Like, I would never be like, oh, the Slave One's one of my favorite ships. Because I like that model. Like, I don't need the Slave One to be happy. I just need a ship like
But
that.
I think that's pretty much the only one we see.
Yeah, that's the only one you see, but it's an actual class of ship.
Right, but it's the only one you see.
Does his ship have... That's what I wanted to ask you when you said that. Does his ship have cloaking on it?
I think it does.
It does.
Yeah, because I know he follows... He cloaks in the trash field, and Empire Strikes Back, and follows Obi-Wan. I don't think it's like he can turn invisible, but he can
I'm wondering if
avoid detection completely.
Now, here's the question. I wonder if it had that cloaking device when Obi-Wan followed him. Obi-Wan followed Jango Fett. It's the same ship, right? Are we talking about the same ship?
Yeah.
Okay. If he follows him into the
well, no, it's not the same ship because it blew up, and then Boba Fett just gets another one.
Okay.
But it's like the same exact model, so I imagine it has all the same stuff.
But remember when they go into the astrofield where there's all those rocks and stuff?
At Geonosis.
Yes.
Wink.
Yes, but but if it's the same one, why didn't he use the cloaking device to get away from Obi-Wan?
And I maybe that other one didn't.
Because there was a tracking built on it, anyways. Like,
oh, that's true.
But in the novel of Episode 2, if I remember correctly, like Jango and Boba Fett figure out there is a tracker on it, and in the movie it's just like he's tracking us, but like they actually like disable it and everything once they realize they're being tracked.
How do you know he didn't disable it when they got to the planet? Because you can't get outside and do it.
Well, no, like you could disable it like through your ship, like block the signal or destroy it with like an EMP blast or whatever he did. Like I think he like shocked it and it fell off or something. Okay. But no, yeah, like, I'm presuming he did the same thing in the movie. There was just no context for that. Like that's subtext. Like you get that anyways. Like he was being cloaked, or he's being tracked. He's been caught, but now he's not being tracked anymore. So yeah, it's just one of those things. That's one of those things that leaves it up for the audience. You have to assume, like you have to feel that's part.
I'm too busy with my eyes with hearts in them, so I can't have out time.
What's another one I have? The Super Star Destroyer.
Oh yeah,
Vegas. Vader's. I was gonna say Vegas.
Because we talked about Vegas earlier.
Vader's super. It's the Excelsior, the one in Episode 5. That like when it comes into frame and everything, like all the other regular Star Destroyers are tiny, and this thing is massive and overshadowing them.
Doesn't matter; gets destroyed anyway. So
I know, but I love that one. That ship is both beautiful and it's massive. Like
it's like one of those luxury liner kind of
it's like
cruise ships.
Why are you building another Death Star, Vader? You've got this thing plus an entire fleet of these regular Star Destroyers. Not to mention you guys have I think the Empire had a few more of these Super Star Destroyers elsewhere too.
That brings into question why in the world did they build both of those if they had super?
True.
If they had like massive ships and things, why bother making a Death Star?
I'd argue for efficiency because of course you could destroy the surface of a planet with a bunch of ships and make it uninhabitable for 1,000 years. That's going to take time, coordination, effort. You can lose ships in the process. Why not just blow the planet up instantaneously?
Now, if it's around, now if it's
everybody's going to fear that.
The Death Star's round, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's at the bottom? Is it like little teeny rooms?
I think so.
Well, if it's like anything like a submarine, it's like those parts aren't like a room.
Where
it's
all
just
the waste goes.
Closed off.
That's true. They got to have it somewhere.
You have to have it somewhere.
Yeah. Put it at the bottom. Open up the hole. Let it all come out.
I have some honorable mentions though.
Okay, go with the honorable mentions.
I'm trying to remember what one is, but I know what the other one was. One of them is the YT-1300. That is the Millennium Falcon. Like I said, I don't give a damn about the Millennium Falcon. I just want the YT-1300, and I actually I love the used Future. Don't get me wrong, but in Solo when they're showing it in pristine condition, I'm like, ooh, hello. Like the inside's all beautiful and black and everything.
Well, that's like a new car. It's like a new car. By the time Rey gets it and she actually does quite a bit of damage to it. If you watch the movie, she's like knocking into the ground. She hits the stuff on on the planet. She hits the store that the guy's working at. She really does some damage to it, but when you look at it, there's really no damage to it. But except for the gunner thing that broke underneath.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been nauseous if I was in that thing. I tell you what.
She's like, get ready for what? To throw up.
Another honorable mention would be the Gauntlet class ships. They appear in Clone Wars and Rebels. They're the Mandalorian ships that are like, long, and they have these wings that go up and down when they land.
Oh, wow.
I just really like them because not only are they like a fighter class of ship, they're massive. So like they're not like massive like Star Destroyer massive. But I mean, like, you could comfortably fit and sleep like 5 people in these things, or more, or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's one of my things. When I look for ships, like, if I'm fantasizing, like, what ship would I have? It's utilitarian. Like, it's not just, I'm going to go fight some TIE fighters. It's, no, I can live in this thing if I need to. Yeah. Everything. Like, it has
like
space.
A motorhome.
Yeah. Like, I don't, as you can see from my list of examples, none of them are, like, pure fighter class ships. Because that would be boring. Although if I had to choose one, I forget the exact name, and it would be too difficult to look it up now. It's from the Old Republic, and it's a ship that kind of looks like the regular Jedi Starfighters from, like Obi-Wan Kenobi's that triangle version. It kind of looks like that, and it has wings, but they do like this, so it comes out and it looks like a jet.
Oh, wow.
So it could fly in like both, and it's just a single seat fighter jet, and it's just really cool looking. It looked neat. Both with its wings in and its wings out, and when you did the two different things, like there was such a drastic difference between how it looks as a ship because the surface area is changing so drastically. I just loved it, and it looked like a traditional fighter plane, which is something I always appreciated because that's why Lucas put the X-wing in. It looks like a fighter plane.
Like a fighter plane, yeah.
Yeah, and it in looking
these
up,
things go fast.
Yes, all of
put them in the movie.
And that's the thing about when you look at these ships. Like that's why I brought the book so that you can see the intensity of a lot of these ships and all the different things that they do and the different functions that they are. I think this is from a made up universe. And it's so intense. Yeah. And it's got so much to it. And all the ships do, everything that we've looked up so far has been like that. There's a lot of intensity to it. And I thought, it's just great. I love it.
My last honorable mention is the Surasub yacht. I'm going to see if I'm going to find a picture to show you guys. Because it's not like, it's a yacht. And the reason I love it so much is when I used to play Star Wars Galaxies, which is now a closed, like, can't access it anymore, online Star Wars game from back in the day. Like, that was one of the ships I had that I actually cared about in terms of decorating, because you could, like, actually take stuff and decorate it. And, did I have, no, I didn't have ostrich on it. But it was so cool, because it, like, had a cockpit and everything. It was, like, massive. You could, like, have, like, parties of hundreds of people in there, like, presumably, if you wanted to. So like cockpit had like this massive, like the center was just huge wide windows to look out, like stargazing windows. And then it was just like nothing. It was just like ballroom space. So like, and then like the back had all like the living quarters and stuff. It was just a super awesome, but boring looking ship.
Well, it did what it needed to do.
Like it looks boring looking. Here, I'll show you because it looks exactly like a damn yacht.
Okay, so I'm going to do mine. I'm going to go from 5 to 1.
Okay.
So my first one was the, how did you say it? The Quintana?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Katana?
That's what it looks like, though.
Oh, that's cool looking.
Yeah. See all the side windows on it, and like has like ballroom space.
Yeah.
No, yeah. It looks exactly like a yacht.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like that.
But for outer space.
Okay.
The outer yacht.
So mine was number 4 was number 5 was the Katana, and that one is a luxury. We're talking about that luxury sail barge. And
Katana. Yeah.
Yes, Katana.
I didn't know that you had it written there because I would have immediately. I
showed it to you.
I feel bad now. I know, but I couldn't remember what it looked like.
Jabba used it when he left the palace to visit other parts of Tatooine. The vessel was driven by a repulsor lift engine, conjunction with 2 huge sails in the upper deck, and it was protected by blaster cannons and several smaller blasters mounted on the side rails. But did it matter? No, because
of course it mattered.
Skywalker blew it up.
Everything ends. It mattered. It made Jabba happy while it lasted.
Yes. The second one...
Even though Salacious B. Crumb dies in that thing, Salacious Crumb is like the adorable little monkey lizard. That's what Kowalkian...
Oh, the one that was hanging up... the one that tried to take out...
C-3PO and R2-D2 like chewing on C-3PO's eye. Yeah. That's Salacious Crumb.
Ah!
Those are sentient, intelligent creatures that, in the old canon, if I remember correctly, deliberately choose to act like pets because it's a better life for them.
Well, if they're smart enough to do that, they get the food for free.
That's why it's like when you first watch Return of the Jedi, you're like, why is his pet laughing? Like, why is it? But it's like because his pet is sentient. He knows what's going on, and everybody else in that universe. You don't know that they know it, but everybody else in the universe knows all that about that too. So it's like kind of like an inside joke inside of Star Wars.
Yeah,
which is funny.
That's interesting. I mean, see, here we are about fun facts. For me, number 4 was the TIE Fighter. I really like that. That one was manufactured in the Sinar Fleet System. It was the signature star fighter of the Imperial Navy, with versatility and precision. Are a symbol of prestige for the Empire. So that was like their top of the line,
I really like the Ghost
ship
too.
The
Ghost from Rebels. That'll be like another honorable mention.
Oh, I have to. You're like thinking about all these ships. See, we said 5. We said 5, and we could have gone with 10.
But once again, I like the Ghost as that ship's design. I don't like it because it's the Ghost.
Yeah, well.
Like Jar Jar Binks could be the owner of that ship call it the Dingbat, and I'm still like, I want that ship.
The Dingbat. The TIE Fighter lacked key system, such as deflector shields and hyperdrive. The TIE Fighter's central cockpit is tightly fitted to incorporate flight control, viewing screens, targeting systems, tracking equipment, and room for a pilot, all in the central pod. So, I mean, this was a really intuitive ship. This was something that, they thought was top of the line, but...
So top of the line, yet you can't get into it if it's just sitting on the ground. Okay. You don't have access equipment.
Well, I beg to differ, because it says Rebel novices have been able to figure out I'm getting stuck here.
Like the flight controls?
Have been able to figure them out on the fly and after stealing one from an Imperial landing field. So they've been able to, I don't have my glasses on today, so I'm really blind. They've been able to figure it out. So it's actually pretty easy because Poe says he can fly anything. And what does he do? They steal it. He figures out how to fly the thing. Yeah, right away.
He got shot down right away, too.
Yeah, but here's the point. He got shot down, but did he figure out how to fly it?
No,
yes, there's my point.
It was Finn's fault.
Yeah.
Kind of was.
He got too caught up in actually getting
shot.
Hi,
white friend. How are you?
He was all excited.
The
black wings are actually solar panels that collect energy, so that they can be used for the ion. So they can be used for the engine and for the lasers. So they did. So they did have a purpose, because we were talking about that one time. Why those are on the sides? They're like flat like that, but they have solar panels on them. So I thought that was kind of cool. The two things that have changed about the TIE planes. What do you think it is? The TIE fighters.
What do you mean?
Two things have changed from the movie 4, 5, and 6 to The Force Awakens.
One is that there's a Special Forces TIE fighter that's a 2-seater.
Amen.
Oh, when was a 2-seater?
It was a 2-seater because remember, Poe and Finn steal
but
it.
not all TIE fighters from the First Order are 2-seaters.
But that was a change.
It confirmed at least, the Special Forces, those. Right. And those are the ones that have the red stripe on them.
And possibly with the second one, because, Rebels were able to steal the ships, the fighters, this could have been the reason why this second one comes into play. There's a locking system that attaches them to the Star Destroyers. Because remember, when Poe's trying to take off, it's actually locked to the ship. So they got smart and started locking them.
I always just assumed that was like a fuel thing attached to it. But no, it'd be funny if it was like one of those safety things.
No, because he says that it's
locked. Like at the iPhone store or something.
No, he says that it's locked.
Well, no, I mean, out of context, you were like, it's locked to the fuel pump. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's how I...
How is it locked to the fuel pump?
I don't... Because you secure, have you ever put a fuel pump on an airplane before?
But it doesn't have fuel. They use the solar panels for the ion engines.
I didn't know about the solar panel thing though until now.
Until right now.
See, that's why I look these things up.
I just don't like the TIE Fighter at all. I don't like it at all.
I do. I thought it was. That's one of my mentions. Okay,
I don't know why. I think it's because it's so basic.
How could you?
I know, right? I'm all for the Empire, and I'm like, nope, these things just look ugly. I don't care if they're efficient.
Well, apparently they are basic because any novice rebel, that's what they said, any novice rebel could learn how to fly it on the fly.
No, yeah, they're basic in the sense that they're the suicide fighters of the Empire because they didn't have shields. Like, they were built for speed, ease of usability, and firepower.
Okay, what does that tell you as far as the people that learned to fly them? They did not have a whole lot of education.
Oh no, you still have to be intelligent to be a pilot. But what I'm saying is,
think about that, because now it's not the clones who were properly trained. You're talking about people now who sign up. So maybe they needed to be more. Because it seemed like in the Clone Wars...
so you make it lenient. It's like you want somebody who's still intelligent in case of like an emergency to figure your stuff out.
But if the ship does it, you don't need to.
But yeah, if you can dumb the ship down, then you can expand your recruitment pool for that specific job.
Yeah, and it doesn't, it's saying that it's pretty easy, so it looks like the ship can pretty much take care of itself. It can diagnose a problem.
Well, like I said, they're essentially suicide pilots. Like, they go out and...
But you don't need a whole lot
They go out in massive force because most of them don't come back.
But you don't need a lot of training. You know that they're going to say,
it's all built on overwhelming.
You're getting a 2-day training. Go out and fly this thing. It's going to be 2 days of training. So number 3 was the X-Wing fighter. I'm right there with Aaron on my ship choices. The model of the X-Wing was it's called T-65B. It was a fuselage thrust engine. These powerful and efficient engines provided top-notch speed. Attack position. The wings were an S-foil, and they remained closed for swifter flight, then spread for combat. So they opened up whenever they were in combat, but the wings, the foils closed for flight.
Right, for flight, yeah.
Yeah, so that they could fly faster.
I always got that, but I didn't get it at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that fun fact? Because, I always got it because it makes sense that you would go to a different formation for combat. But in our real world, when fighter pilots go into combat, they increase speed, drastically.
Well, like you were saying about the Old Republic, those ships opened up or closed for a specific reason. And we're not talking about a real world
because,
here. We're
it's
talking about
fake. Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. You still have to look at stuff through your own personal lens.
Right.
I love that the X-Wings did that, but I was thinking
okay, so the difference...
But the space thing could make a difference.
I was just going to say that. The difference is you have battle in space, whereas the normal Top Gun kind of ship or fighter ships that we have... Do you want to know a fun fact
about space fight in Star Wars when you're done?
Yes, when I'm done. Okay, so Luke actually flies one of these, and it's a single pilot starfighter. He chose to have an assistant, which is R2-D2.
They can all have astromechs, right?
No, it didn't seem like that. It seemed like he was the only one.
Not all have them, but I think they're all built to support one, and Luke just happened to have one. Because the Rebellion ain't going around buying R2 units for everybody.
Right. They may not have been building droids like that anymore. They might have gotten rid of them. Because, think about it, you now have the Empire running everything.
All the Y-Wings had R2 units, though. And even A New Hope. They had the R2 units. So, yeah, the X-Wings must be built to accommodate one. Right. But Luke was the only X-Wing who had an R2 unit, or just an astromech droid.
And that's my favorite ship, the Red 5. And he might have had, he might have been looked at as, he's the kid with the new toy. Look at that, he's got that droid with him. Whereas you didn't see a lot of the pilots; they didn't have that, because after the Empire took over, it seemed like the rebels were just, they were hiding on planets. They didn't have the top technology that the Empire had.
Yeah.
Even those X-Wings were ancient.
It was more for them guerrilla warfare kind of thing.
Yeah. But they were scrubbing, they were just...
Yeah, they were rusty.
The B-Wing was... Yeah, the Y-Wings were from the Clone Wars, so they had all that rusty stuff. The X-Wings were old too. I don't remember how old, so I had those. And then, like, even the B-Wings, the B-Wings were developed in secret by Amon Calamari, and, like, they can only build so many of them so quickly.
Were the A-Wings newer? Were the A-Wings probably, like, the newest, that was probably the newest model.
Right.
I think that would be correct. That would be out of all of them, that would be, if I would guess, that would be the newest one.
Yeah, and it says that the X-Wing were manufactured in the ICOM Corporation. So they had to have been on a planet where they're going to be built, where they're not going to be having any imperial entanglements.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to avoid that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you want to be able to avoid that. So wherever they were building them, if they were building them or even repairing them, they had to do it in pretty much secrecy. And it seems like every time they're on a planet somewhere, they're in a cave.
Well, no, because, kind of. Like, the Rebels had to hide everything they did. But, like, a lot of places that they got their ships and equipment from were just mass producers of, like, ships and firearms. And they would, like, deal under the table, or the Rebels would steal from... Like, I think all the Y-Wings are stolen from a shipyard. Like, their Y-Wing, their original Y-Wing fleet in Rebels is stolen from... I think it was the Y-Wings. Is it the Y-Wings or the A-Wings? I'm pretty sure it was the Y-Wings.
Yeah, and it seems like these kind of ships are not... You have to have a lot of knowledge on how to fly them. Yeah, because from what I was reading,
like old school ones.
Yeah, it seems like there was. It seemed like from reading and all that I read that it says even the synchronized blast from the X-Wing's gun easily vaporizes the TIE fighter. There's a lot going on in these ships, so they had a lot of technology, but yet I think the technology was kind of a little older.
Yeah.
It wasn't...
They were still inferior to the TIE fighter. Like, it's weird. They were inferior to the Empire and the TIEs because
the TIEs
of the aggressive TIEs. They were built for superpower, speed, and that's it. Like, they were built... Literally,
they were built for dogfights. They were built to be expendable.
Yeah, they were built to, like, okay, they're coming at us with 1,000 fighters. We're going to send 100,000. None of them are well equipped to defense at all.
Well, it seems like they had less fighters. Like the X-Wing, there was less of them, but they were able to take out more TIEs.
Yeah, because what the Empire didn't realize is the Rebels are actually training their pilots. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't just take a ground soldier. That's why Rebels always have issues with pilots, because... Their pilots, they have so little because it takes so much to be a pilot. Yeah. And then they die so quickly. But the thing is, the amount of TIE fighters you lose to kill one X-Wing is, like, so astronomical. But the Emperor doesn't care because that's his plan. Overwhelm them to defeat them, not be better than them.
So, in the Empire Strikes Back and in 4, 5, and 6, I should say, they seem like they're recruiting guys. But it seems like the word's getting out. No, don't become part of this because these are bad guys, and so it's almost like Vietnam kind of thing. After a while, first people were signing up, they were all excited, and then after a while people were not signing up. They were avoiding the draft because they knew that this was a bad deal. And it seems like that's the same premise for guys trying to sign up for the Empire, because even Luke's friend who signed up,
Biggs. There's a deleted scene at the front of that movie where he sees Biggs before Biggs goes to the Imperial Training Academy, because one of the fun things for all these backwater planets, or for a lot of people who just passively don't or aggressively don't agree with the Empire, they join the Imperial Army and Navy and then immediately defect after they get their training to the Rebels.
Right, because they realize what's happening.
But they go into it like they go, no, Luke and Biggs deliberately went in to the Imperial Academy to defect. They wanted to that's how they get their training and stuff, and that's how Rebels also recruited pilots.
Wow.
They would have somebody in the know who was permanently at that academy.
But what doesn't make sense is the TIEs were actually, they were easier to fly. It was almost like having an Apple computer, the thing was so easy it almost did things for itself.
But imagine if you could go back in time and enlist in Hitler's Wehrmacht or his SS, good or bad guys for Germany, and then you can come back to America after going through their regular training. Could you imagine all the information you'd have?
Yeah, that's true.
And you would have, in some ways, superior training compared to what you'd...
So what you're saying, there were spies in the Empire. I'm sure there was.
Yeah,
I'm sure there was.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, it's free training, it's free information if you can get away with it, and it's all that stuff, even just one pilot defecting a year, which I'm pretty sure was way more than that, but one Imperial pilot defecting a year, that's like a huge gain for the rebellion in terms of information and everything.
Right.
I mean, at some point it's going to be diluted because you're getting so many people, but then at that point, if your recruitment rates go up from people defecting, that doesn't matter too. Even if they're coming from the same thing and they can't offer you information, well, they're still trained pilots.
It seems more that it was more people dumping out of the Imperial forces rather than the other way around.
Yeah, no.
It seemed like there
are cases of rebels betraying other rebels to the Empire and joining the Empire, but there are way more cases of Imperials
the other way
joining
around.
the rebels.
Right. Okay, so number 2 was the Jedi Starfighter. Oh my god!
But which one?
It is the
one from Attack of the Clones, or the one from like Clone Wars and Episode 3?
Clone Wars Episode 3.
So the ones that have like the kind of TIE fighter cockpit.
No.
Because remember, Obi-Wan's is like super long and red
yes,
and triangular.
That one.
That one, yeah.
That one.
Because there's that one, and there's like those super tiny ones that have like the kind of TIE fighter cockpit and the little. I don't like those ones. I like them, but I don't like them. It's funny because I don't. Yeah, go on though.
Okay,
yeah.
so this one was manufactured. Yeah, I like this one too because Obi-Wan.
Plo Koon's is really cool. It's in Episode 3 when he gets shot down.
Oh yeah.
He's flying one of the original models like Obi-Wan had, but his is like dark blue with white stripes and stuff on it. It's really cool looking.
I remember that. So it's manufactured. They are manufactured in the Kuwait System Engineering. It says Kuwait System Engineering. So it was the Delta 7 Atherspirit class light interceptor. That's what it was called. Enclosed cockpit, modular options can accommodate human or alien. And this I found kind of cool because you don't see it referred to in like the X-Wing or anything like that. You had more. What happened? You had more aliens back in the old Republic.
What I imagine
now?
is that it's Jedi. Jedi want a specific design, so they get that specific design, but they make sure that design's all inclusive because the Jedi are not just humanoid; they're everything.
Yeah, that's true.
So if they're like, if we're going to buy 1,000 starfighters for select Jedi, let's make sure we get something that's like all inclusive.
That's true.
Physiologically wise.
So it also had a hyperspace booster ring. So that's what when you see Obi-Wan connecting to it, it had a reason for that. It was able to once it clicked in the astromech, which is I think it's R4. That's inside the
those are P units and they're just heads essentially.
Yeah.
Like you can't remove them.
Yeah,
like
they don't come out.
Yeah,
and then once it hooked into that to the ring, it was able to tell it the destination and coordination. And so the computer it was able to dock with it and then tell the ring where it needed to go. So it was almost like it was giving it extra gas. It was like a gas station going along with the ship for the long distance kind of.
It could still jump to light speed,
yes,
but the ring made everything better.
Right, and that's exactly what it's saying. The Delta 7 is a wedge shape, single-person craft. It is equipped with dual lasers. The lasers.
Fire the laser.
Ew, I knew that would be your number one. I knew it. I cheated. I looked. I knew that would be your number one.
Aaron, that was great.
Could you imagine Dr. Evil on the Death Star?
I could. That was kind of like that second. That's like what that second Austin Powers movie was.
Yeah.
Him on a Death Star.
Him on the Death Star.
I can see this. Just give him an Imperial officer uniform. It's no real difference.
Oh my god. So it had cannons and 2 secondary ion cannons and a powerful deflector shield.
Oh my god.
The craft is small. It was too small to hold a standard nav computer and
Independence Days. I'm sorry.
And hyperdrive. It relies on an astromech droid that is hardwired to the craft. I'm just reading on. I don't care. The astromech also provided diagnosis and service repair to the craft. Both Obi-Wan and Anakin, they both piloted the Delta 7. The only difference is Obi-Wan he only had the R4, and then I actually thought he came out until I read that. I thought he came out of the ship, but he doesn't. But the R2-D2 does.
Yeah, I think the one he has on the ship
in Clone Wars.
In Attack of the Clones, the movie, that one is actually a different unit too. I think that's R2.
Oh, it's R2?
I don't remember though. It could be R4P still. I don't remember.
I thought it was.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Okay, so one of the things that I looked at and I'm like, oh, gosh darn. Despite the craft's alignments and most despite what the craft had, right? Most Jedi pilots preferred to rely on cunning and attunement to the Force to avoid disputes and aggravations. They used instead of weapons, they used the weapons as a last resort. I do not have my glasses on today, so
there's like instances of a lot of Jedi
as a last resort.
I'm like, I don't even know. Yeah. They use the weapons on the ship as a last resort. They would prefer to try and go the diplomatic route rather than. I'm trying to read this and I cannot even see it.
There's like really cool instances of Jedi, like fighter pilots. They like would use the Force to control like their proton torpedoes and stuff as they're flying. Like they launch one.
Now
and,
is that okay with the Jedi code? Does that fall into code? Am I?
If not, I would really rather be a Sith.
I'm telling you, they're all dogmatic. Of course, it falls in the code. If that didn't fall within the code, lightsabers would be way out like long ago.
Yeah, but you're controlling. That's a one-on-one battle, and first they try the diplomatic. They do try and go the diplomatic route first, and then they pull out the sabers. But with this, you're like, okay, maybe they did do that, and then they're like, okay, so we're going to take out this ship with hundreds of people.
Yeah.
And I'm going to guide it with the Force to take out the ship. Something like that. So number 1, David said he knew I would pick this one. Padme's starship, but there are 2 of them.
Her shiny one?
They're both
shiny. But
there's the episode 1 one, which is like the SR-71 Blackbird painted chrome, and then there's the one that gets blown up, right?
Yeah.
You're wrong.
I thought one of them.
You're
did.
wrong.
What, about the one that gets blown up? Oh, there's a third. There's that other one that she uses in Attack of the Clones.
There's only 2 of them that is referred to. The first one, and it's in the book. The first one is the one that gets blown up. The second one is this one. It is the starship.
No, there's a third one. She has the Naboo one that she travels to Coruscant in episode 1 that lands on Tatooine. The big ass silver SR-71 Blackbird.
Okay, so which is the one that when she in the Attack of the Clones in the beginning of the movie?
That's one that's blown up that looks different from those other 2 designs.
Okay.
Like similar, like that one had a kind of like, if I imagine it, more of like a hammerhead look. Like how it was designed then.
Yeah, I marked it off for one of the ships, but this one was manufactured in the Thebes Palace Space Vessel Engineering Corp. The model of this ship is the H-type Nubian yacht. And that's what it's saying, is the Nubian yacht. The ship contained a communication chamber for conducting important senatorial business. And it was an unmistakable silver finish, almost like Back to the Future.
What's silver in Back to the Future?
I don't know. What is silver in Back to the Future?
The DeLorean's silver, but those ships aren't silver. Those are chrome.
It says silver.
I know, it's chrome.
It says
Let's be
silver.
honest.
It says silver. I'm going to go with silver. Announcing her status
more gray.
as a former monarch, it's stainless steel, and highly influential politician. So when you saw that ship coming.
I'm sorry. That just fascinated me. I was like, no way.
The DeLorean is...
Is it really made out of stainless steel?
Yes. It was made out of stainless steel.
Like the actual car or the lore for the DeLorean in the movie?
No, the actual car.
No way.
I was
That's
around
awesome.
in the 80s. I know what that car's
Yeah,
made.
I'm just saying, people get confused. You're getting older, we all know.
Oh, you're going to get a shoe in a minute. Somewhere.
She's going to hit me.
Yeah, she is going to hit you.
So when she was flying around in this one announced that she was a influential politician. So, it's like the guys that drive around in the big black cars when the flags are waving, the little flag is waving on the side of the car.
Yeah.
It's...
Ambassadorial.
Yes, kind of, that kind of thing. Padme used the starship during the Clone Wars. It doesn't have weapons, but it has a powerful engine bank and a strong deflector shield generator. Padme received the vessel after a failed assassination attempt. Mm-hmm. Now, this is my side note.
Yeah, I think that would be the one in Clone Wars.
Yes,
one of them at least.
This is my side note. If they tried to kill her, why didn't they put weapons on this ship? Because while she's out in space, are they going to say, okay...
Because she's a pacifist. Almost.
Yeah, but I'm saying
she's kind of a pacifist.
Well, I think the whole planet. I think the whole planet was Naboo.
Yeah, I agree with you. They should have put weapons on it.
Yeah, they should have put weapons on it because if they knew that someone, I'm sorry, it's flying out in the space. Oh, we're not going to kill her out there. We're going to try and kill her when she lands. Oh my God. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so
it doesn't. But that's what Star Wars is.
That it doesn't make sense. It makes a whole lot of sense.
It doesn't make sense, but because it makes all
the sense. But I think
it
leaves a lot of, a lot of times you have Star Wars, we'll start talking about a certain subject and we're all like, oh no, it's like this. No, it's like that. No, it's like this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room for interpretation.
Oh yeah, that's
there
the best thing
seems to be a lot of room for interpretation, even down to food.
That's the best thing about just art in general. Not just Star Wars. Like everybody can interpret it a certain way.
I don't know. It's like that. What's going around that Yanni and what's the other thing?
I actually know why that does that.
Yanni and Laurel.
That's
Yanni and Laurel.
It's a frequency trick.
You know what? I don't really give a crap.
I don't care either.
No, yeah, don't care because there is no difference. Technically, it's both. It depends on how high certain frequency ranges, incling bass,
I don't
are.
freaking care.
So
a lot of people writing on Facebook, I'm like, really? We're worried about that? We got so much going on in this world that we're worried about that.
They're arguing about it, and it's like, I agree with you. Why are you arguing about it? B, I'm like, you guys don't know science? Because if you turn your volume up and down, it changes.
It changes,
yeah.
I don't really care.
Yeah,
you know what? In the long and the short of it, I don't really freaking care.
I told you.
And you're going to hear me say freaking.
I'm scared, though, because last time some crap like this happened was that blue dress thing, and then Leonard Nimoy died. So who's going to kick it a few weeks from now?
Gosh, that's a terrible thing to
I know, it's
terrible. Dark really fast.
It did, but I'm scared. I don't want somebody awesome to go.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry. I think it was his time to go, and it had nothing to do with... You know what? He was not... Be
careful. Don't cut yourself on that.
No, sadly, he was in his, late 70s or
no, he's in his 80s.
He had
COPD.
To make it to that, to make it to the 70s, 80s, and Stan Lee, 94.
Yeah.
That is
you're
amazing.
Up all the life for everybody.
Yeah, but it's amazing. I mean, it's sad when people do pass away because we lost Tom Petty. He was age 69. I just watched a thing on Netflix where they're talking about people who died at 27.
Oh yeah, it was like Kurt Cobain, Jim Morrison. What's her name?
You're talking about the singer.
Yeah.
Setlist, the hippie singer.
I had the name until you started.
Janis Joplin.
Janis Joplin.
Yeah. Jimi Hendrix.
And you know what? They all died within a few months of each other. Think about
Hendrix, and I think Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Mama Cass died all around the same time.
Yeah, that's what that tells you a lot of people.
Was Mama Cass 27 LSD. Club too?
Yeah, no, it fries your brain.
Yeah, she died, but she choked on food, I believe.
She died from obesity, but I'm trying to remember if she was in the 27 Club too.
She may not have been.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Then there's the girl just recently. She had the big beehive. I can't think of her name.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I don't remember her name though.
Yeah. Well, but they were all in the 27 Club, so it doesn't matter.
I want to watch this now. I'm fascinated with weird things like this.
Yes.
I
just watched the thing on Tesla, too. It was great.
Oh, yeah. I love Tesla.
I want to check that out, too.
Damn Edison for stealing everything from Tesla.
But you know what? Tesla had a lot of mental issues. He was so intelligent that he had mental issues. Yes. It seemed to me like his last... I'll tell you my honorable mention in a minute, but it seemed to me like his last thing was a cell phone tower.
Yeah, essentially was what he built a cell phone tower.
He was way beyond what we were thinking at that time. He was thinking of stuff that wasn't going to happen for another 100 years.
Yeah.
No,
which is amazing.
If he was still alive today, we would have lightsabers.
I know.
If he was still alive today, I don't think we'd be paying for electricity.
It's a game.
No, we wouldn't.
It's a game. It's a game. The Order 1885.
Oh yeah,
and
I remember that.
And you see him. He makes your weapons.
Oh wow.
That game was so boring though. It was like 4 hours.
It was short. Yeah, it was. But he makes your weapons.
And like half of it was all.
But it's interesting in the stuff he invented, because even for the little telegraph machine, he had 17 patents on that, and finally, when he passed away, he won the rights to them.
Yeah, like he had rights to telegraph. He had rights or inventions created or jotted down before they were all invented, and they were stuff like the telephone, telegraph, ham radio, not ham radio, but regular radio. Like, they had like so much stuff he came up with.
You know, it's like Leonardo da Vinci. He actually invented things that were 100, 200, 300 years beyond. Yeah. And it was, I mean, his inventions, if you look at them now, they're stuff we use today.
Yeah, absolutely.
But his thought, can you imagine you're thinking these things in your head, but there's no physical way to make them because some of this stuff hasn't been invented yet.
Yeah, so especially during that time, all you did was probably sit around and just think of how could life be better than just,
let's invent a dishwasher. But how do you make
just this fireplace and candle walking around my house?
But you gotta remember, like back then, like every year was the best year for them.
Honestly, though,
they
fire was technology at one point. They're like, we don't need anything else.
But if you thought beyond that.
Absolutely.
If you thought beyond that, you're thinking, oh, how am I going to make this? Because, like you said, I don't want to walk around with just a candle in the dark.
Like, the radius of a candle could only go so far. So yeah, absolutely. And you got to think about it too. In the 1800s, whatever, like people were dying from like diarrhea. So you just really had to there has to be something better than this,
or a high fever.
Yeah, like
you just got a cold, you got a high fever. I just watched on the Templars, I can't think of the name, it was on History Channel. The guy got stung by a bee and he died.
Yeah, that's insane. So there has to be something better than this. Like, let's figure out how to just make life better. So yeah, you're sitting around, you're just thinking like,
damn, I don't want to wash these dishes.
What if I could call a doctor? Yeah, what if I could call someone to help with this bee sting? A telephone, yes, there it is. You know what I mean? So,
you make it out of wood.
Yeah. Come on over and help me.
I had something, but I forgot what it was.
Put the cups together.
I had something great, but it's now lost. It was about all this too. It was funny.
My God!
I can't remember what it is.
So
now.
my race speeder is the honorable mention, and
It's not a ship though.
No, but it's kind of, it was her ship.
Yeah, okay.
It was her ship, and I thought the reason why I like this so much is the way I read about how it was put together, and it makes you really realize, because when she's in the movie, she's telling Han Solo how she fixed the ship, and then she's telling Finn how she's fixing the ship, and you're like, how did this chick get all this kind of knowledge?
Yeah,
but she was like Anakin, very mechanical. And I never put the two together until someone told me that the other day, and I'm like, dang, man, I never even thought of that she was just like Anakin. Was very, very, she was very intuitive towards putting together things and building things.
And speaking of droids, talking droid.
Yeah.
Talking.
Oh, she does speak droid.
Yeah. Not a lot of people do.
Anana Parkwa.
Yeah. Anana Parkwa.
Oh, yeah, because she was beating up that little alien dude.
Yeah.
But
that's just Tito.
That's the tequila guy.
That is so casual, it amazes me.
But she lives inside of a AT-AT.
Yeah.
And she figured out how to, and it's just the leg.
It's just the leg of it.
She's in the leg of it.
Yeah. No, she's in the whole body.
No, it was the leg. She came out of the leg.
No, the whole body's there and the leg comes out like this.
Is it buried?
It's buried. It's buried. She lives inside the actual AT-AT though.
But it seemed like when she went out the door, she went out right out the door, out of the leg.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's probably a hole there. But
yes,
you remember, you can't live in those legs because those legs are
Well,
you've seen Luke Skywalker next to them.
I don't know. I'm going to go back and watch that because me and Aaron really believe she lived in the leg. She lived in the foot part of it. You got to remember, that's big.
I could have sworn that she lived inside the AT-AT.
No, she lives in the leg. She lives in
the whole AT-AT's there though.
Right, but she lives in the foot.
Kind of.
Okay, she scavenged all the parts.
Mm-hmm.
And
how could she live in the foot though? That would just be a solid piece of metal, wouldn't it?
How do you know?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying, she lives in the foot.
There would be something, whether it's solid metal or something as whatever.
I think it's the leg though.
Yeah, it's the leg and the foot. She lives in it. Yeah, she walks right out. She cooks and walks right out to eat outside. She makes that
young muffin.
Yes.
We're gonna have to.
You don't have to because I just told you.
No. I'm gonna fact check this.
Yeah, but I mean, from what I
fact check it now.
Yes, go ahead while I'm reading this.
Okay.
Was made entirely from scratch. She used scavenged parts from the Starship Graveyard, Nema Outpost, and parts acquired from Thedu traders. It has characteristics of a speeder and a swoop, making the most out of scavenged military hardware and civilian military machinery. The speeder was extremely fast and could carry a heavy load. She would have to need that.
More written for your honorable mention.
No, I had more, but I just kind of cut it out because I can't.
No, I'm saying like you wrote more for your.
No, I
honorable
wrote a
mention
lot
than
about
the other
I wrote a lot about a lot of them, but I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see it.
Okay.
And could carry a heavy load, making it ideal for long-range scavenger trips. It has a powerful twin-turbo engine reclaimed from an old cargo hauler. Roy chose to mount the engine. Now, this is where I thought, wow, she really was good at this. Ray chose to mount the engine in a stack configuration instead of side-by-side, bolting them to a power amplifier intake from an Imperial gunship. Then she customized the racing swoops, afterburner, and an array of repulsor lifts taken from crashed X-wings fighter ships. So she was it's like a Frankenstein that she put together. The speeder was equipped with a rider interface that couldn't allow it to be powered without a valid fingerprint. So it was like a cell phone. You know how like some cell phones you open the phone by using your fingerprint?
Yeah.
That's how she was able to put a locking system on this thing. The wiring allowed Ray to electrify the speeder's chassis, shocking any would-be thieves or scavengers while she was away, scavenging her stuff. In addition, the speeder was ungainly and hard to operate unless the user was familiar with how it handled. So the reason why I picked that is I read all that and I thought, you know what, that's pretty cool that she used all this stuff. She had time, because from the time she was a little girl to the time she leaves the planet, we're not sure how old she is. I didn't count all the little sticks on the wall. You know how she marks.
They've announced what the young age of Rey is in those flashbacks.
She had to have been about maybe 7.
Yeah, like I think it was like 7 or 8.
7 or 8,
maybe.
Like basically the dagger murder
Where is that?
So I'm right. It's inside the body.
It's inside the body. In the footage where she she could come out the foot though, and like that's where she eats. Or that's where
because I remember that's where she was eating, just hanging out there.
That's really odd because when she's sitting there, it looks like she looks
like she walked out of there though.
Yeah, it looks like she walked out of the.
It does.
Okay, so she lives in the. But you know what? It doesn't look like this in the picture. In the movie, it doesn't look like that. No, it looks like there's a little.
No,
kitchen
the inside looks a little bit like that. It's just, I think it's just a completely different.
It looks like it's
in view of it. Yeah,
right. It looks like it's enclosed because, and it's a small spot. She marks the wall, and then she starts to make the food.
Because we're inside there with her from a small perspective and field of view.
Right.
Compared to that, so I can look and see it kind of looks the same.
I kind of got the indication it was inside the foot, and then she comes out and sits there, but she's in a very quiet place. So we live in the desert, and during the night it's pretty quiet, and a lot of people who live out in the city wouldn't understand that, but it's pretty quiet. So you could hear the dog barking all the way down the street, or you could hear people talking, and sometimes if it's windy, you can even hear the TV or music or whatever. And sure enough, when she's sitting there, she could hear that droid up on the other side of the ridge, because she could hear Tito wrestling with it.
Oh yeah, so nothing going on there.
Yeah. So I thought that was my honorable mention. So.
Those are beats up Tito.
Yeah, no, she doesn't. She told him, "I'll fun of quackwa."
He wouldn't be the first Tito to be beaten up.
But she does.
Or play second.
But she does
some
learn,
other family member.
I want to know what that stick is. You know the stick she always carries. I want to know what that is.
I know, because it looks so cool. I wish it was a lightsaber.
It has to.
It was too.
I wish it had a lightsaber in it.
Wouldn't it be funny if it was part of the X-wings? The
that'd be kind
part
of
of
cool.
it.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it was put together. It doesn't look like it was a weapon. It looks like she made it to be a weapon.
She modified it.
Yeah, because I have an X-wing at home, a little one that I was able to get, and it looks almost kind of like that. I'm wondering where this came from, because she was able to pick out parts off of the ships and stuff, because that she knew were valuable.
Yeah.
So do you think that when episode 9
but it was almost
comes
like
out,
I was going to say it's almost like going to the recycling. You're unsure about how much this is going to cost, because I go to recycling all the time, and sometimes it seems like it's more, you get more, and sometimes it seems like you get less. So I almost feel like Ray when I go to the recycling. But I wanted to say one other thing.
Say it.
I'm going to say, and then I'm going to give Aaron a little kick in the head. When I was younger...
What happened? Is there some hostility I don't know about?
No. There's a lot today. When I was younger, I remember in like the second and third grade, I was a slow reader. Mm-hmm. So when I read out loud, I read slow because that's just how I do it. Yeah. And kids would make fun of me. So for the longest time, I had a hard time reading out loud, and I still kind of do. Mm-hmm. I'm actually conquering it by doing this.
Oh, that's dope.
But I had a fear of reading out loud that I don't know why. It just when I hear myself reading, all of a sudden I start stuttering and get nervous. Mm-hmm. And it was something I've had to conquer because kids teased me when I was younger. Yeah. And now I'm feeling I'm getting past that. I feel like I'm getting past it. I still kind of feel myself stuttering a little bit when I'm reading, but I think I'm actually conquering the mountain. So I want a lot of people to if there's something that's out there and you have a fear of, try and get out there and do a little bit of it.
That's the best way to.
Yeah, I'd never be able to do skydiving though. I'm really
because that's not even that. That's just stupidity. That's not even a conquering of anything.
That's like going out and saying there is a 50% chance I die today. See which one.
But to get up on because I'm a little bit afraid of heights as well. Yeah. But I mean, so I get up there and I kind of tell myself it's okay. The building's not going to fall. Yeah. And it's the same thing with this reading out loud. It has been. I couldn't do it. We had to read out loud when I had to do in the Saber Guild. We have to make up characters, and we have to write a story. So I wrote a story about my character, and when I had to read it out loud, I found myself stumbling and stuttering because I was really nervous about reading out loud. Yeah. So I just want people to not feel that way, to feel that you can conquer anything. You just got to work at it.
You can. You absolutely can. That's very, very true.
Okay, so that's just my little thing. So go on.
About what?
I don't know. You were going to say something before I cut in.
I was?
Yeah, you were. I think you might have forgot to.
Oh, episode 9.
Yes, episode 9.
Will Ray have a lightsaber like Darth Maul's? Is that what you're going to say?
No. Will we even see her? This is like a multi-question. Does Ray get a new lightsaber first off?
I don't think so.
If she does get a lightsaber, does she just like glue that last one back together or something?
I think she's gonna have to.
Or does she build a brand new lightsaber from scratch?
That's what I think.
And if they build a new lightsaber from scratch, do we even see it? Because this is the last movie in the trilogy. Guess 2.5 hours of movie.
Maybe this is what
do
happens.
They waste time on her building the lightsaber in the movie, or does the movie start a couple months later and during that time period in like a comic or something or whatever? She built her lightsaber, and we go into the movie, and she just has a brand new lightsaber.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because in Return of the Jedi, what is a deleted scene?
That is the deleted scene, Luke building a lightsaber, which is a deleted scene that for like 30 years, they were like, no, we never filmed that. And it just magically existed somehow.
It magically appeared like Lucky Charms.
But it's like only a 30-second scene, and even of that, it's just like you see Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, but it's a good.
And then it closes, and then it's like you see the Millennium Falcon outside on Tatooine and R2-D2.
But it's important, and so it should. I wish they would redo the movies again and put all these extra scenes in it, because that is a meat and potato that you need. He shows up with this lightsaber, like, okay, how's he get it? Yeah.
But you imply yourself that he had to build a new one. Right, or get a new one.
But remember, when Rey leaves the planet, when Rey leaves that planet where it looks like the salt is red, I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, great.
She has the, or no, actually when she leaves Luke's planet, she has the books with her.
Yeah, she does.
So she has the knowledge on how to build these sabers.
Technically, no. Because...
How do you know?
We don't know yet. We don't. But if they base it anything off close to the last lore, lightsabers didn't exist in the Ancient Jedi for a long time. And then when they did start to exist, they were like battery powered and bats that had like a cable going to them. Like it took, not centuries, but it took millennium.
Okay, you don't think Yoda wrote it down and say, here's the recipe to
No, because those books were... Yoda didn't write in those books. Those were
How
books
do you know?
Because those were written by the Ancient Jedi.
I have a Sith the Sith journal that indicates that Yoda...
That's a Sith journal, though.
Yoda put notes in it!
Yeah, but that's like saying, okay, this is the original Quran, under glass, only one exists, I'm going to go write notes in the margin.
Well, I think
Someone is killing me, and I am... Whether or not it's something I believe in, I am completely destroying someone else's...
Well, okay, here's my argument with that. If lightsabers are not going to be important in the last movie, why does she take one?
Well, because she has Luke's.
It's going to be important.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be
Why does
important.
she take the books, though?
No, why did she take his saber?
Because it's still... Potentially, there's still a kyber crystal in there that it could be used. Maybe it can be repaired because she's a tinker, or maybe we get Rey's version of Kylo Ren's version of a messed up looking lightsaber. Like, I don't know. My thing is, like, I think they have to add a lightsaber. She has to get a lightsaber. If that movie if we go a 2.5 hour Star Wars movie that ties up the Skywalker saga, and there's no lightsaber tool with Rey, like, that's like the worst way to go out on a movie.
I honestly think we're going to see it because you stop and think about it. The Knights of Ren, Luke had to have put notes in there. He was teaching based on that, and they all had lightsabers. Now,
Knights of Ren didn't have lightsabers, only Kylo Ren did. That's if the Knights of Ren end up being other students. We don't know if they're other students or not. They're just other followers of Vader.
Okay, well, there had to have been... No, the Knights of Ren, Luke was training them.
No, we know he was training Kylo Ren, who's the leader of the Knights of Ren. We don't know if those are his other students or not.
In Rey's dream, or Rey's
vision,
they're all standing there. Luke is right there with them.
No, that's not even that scene yet. That people are guessing that that's a scene from the next film. Like, either that is a past scene of something, because that's not the scene where that's the temple's at. That's it's been analyzed. That's a completely different area, planet. Like, people are assuming this either took place sometime weird, or it's taking place maybe on Octo after.
Sure.
Because there's also, in that picture with Kylo Ren with his lightsaber ignited and the Knights of Ren behind him, it's not confirmed 100% yet. It could go both ways, but it literally looks in Kylo Ren's left hand that he's holding Luke's episode 6
Luke had a temple, so it's obvious
lightsaber.
He might have had other followers. Because in this last movie, The Last Jedi, what do you see? You see kids that have the Force in them.
Yeah.
So there's obvious it's been going on. It's not just, hey, these kids just showed up.
No, yeah, everybody has the Force. It just depends if the universe is outlawing it or not.
Yeah, but you know what? He's not, and he wasn't.
But he decided to stop teaching kids because
there's your point.
Ben Solo
teaching kids. So there was more than one.
Not even kids. Yeah, there was. Like, he had a whole temple. What I'm saying is, we don't have any confirmation that the Knights of Ren are other students of his. All we have is confirmation that Ben Solo is a student of his, and Ben Solo leads the Knights of Ren.
Well, Ben Solo actually... Okay, so here's the point. Ben Solo builds a lightsaber.
Yeah, he builds two, actually. He builds his regular one, and then he builds his Sith one.
So
with
he had to have had some knowledge how to do that.
But
so somewhere it's written down.
Luke,
boom!
But no, because Luke has knowledge of it. Because he got it from Obi-Wan's house. Right. Which Obi-Wan's house didn't have 10,000-year-old textbooks that nobody's supposed to write in because they're ancient.
Where did he get it from?
Because Obi-Wan had... The reason Luke Skywalker's lightsaber looks like that was because Obi-Wan still had his lightsaber schematics. Luke went and found it.
Well, where did Luke get these books?
He got the schematics from Obi-Wan's house because Obi-Wan had his Jedi stuff there with him.
So how do you know Rey doesn't have them now?
She could have Obi-Wan's schematics. I don't know.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is
them up
those books are likely not how to build a lightsaber. Those books are, this is what, at that time, the original incarnation, the purpose of the Jedi, what our beliefs are, that's what it is.
I think there's more in there, too. I think the schematic may be folded inside of there because Luke actually saved it.
But wasn't there a Star Wars Clone Wars episode where the kids were learning how to build?
Yes.
They used the Force to build their lightsabers.
That's right.
No, yeah, you use the Force to build your lightsabers, and where they were at was an ancient library ship run by a master who was a droid, ironically, who was a master of building lightsabers.
But I think there's information because if Obi-Wan had a schematic and Luke got that schematic and he built his lightsaber, because Obi-Wan's not around anymore. And remember, the one that Obi-Wan gave him,
plus you gotta remember,
it gets knocked down and it's out of his hands, remember? So he builds another one.
Yeah.
So he had knowledge.
He had
a schematic somewhere.
I would argue that lightsabers aren't that difficult to build at all. You just have to be a Jedi doing them, because even in Rebels, Ezra Bridger just like all the Rebels crew are just like, you got a kyber crystal, here's some spare parts, and he comes down later with a lightsaber that's a gun and a lightsaber. So like I think it's like not every Jedi can go who's a brand new Jedi can think to themselves, I know exactly how to build a lightsaber, but it might be like instinctual.
In order for it to be relevant, in order for it to have any kind of legitimacy, I think she's going to have a saber.
No, yeah, she has to. I'm just curious, like, if it's going to be a brand new one, if it's going to be a repaired Luke one.
I think she's going to carry two.
She could.
I think.
She could.
That could be, of course, very, very
But, you know, like what I just...
Oh, yeah. She's going to carry two.
Like what I just wrote, she is a tinkerer. You know,
she is.
So, that's what I'm saying. So she doesn't even need lightsaber building knowledge at all. She knows how things work, and then the Force will guide her the rest of the way.
But there could be a schematic somewhere. I think the books have... We're not sure what knowledge is in there, what Yoda put in there. Yoda could have put stuff in there. We don't know.
Yoda didn't even know where these books were. Well, he just knew that they existed. As everything that we know and what Yoda, especially in that conversation on Octo that he has with them, the only indication we have is that Yoda knew where these books were, but Luke was the first person to find them. Like, Yoda knew these books existed, like there are ancient texts of the Jedi Order out there. At the first temple, I don't know where they are. That's and that doesn't mean that's going to be the lore forever, because there's so much ambiguity in that the next movie they can go, well, yeah, Yoda did come here once, and then it's retconned, and it will still count because Yoda didn't say he didn't come back in 8.
Well, he obviously did. He did know where it was because he showed up to talk to Luke.
Yeah, because you don't when you're part of the Celestial Force, the universe doesn't work that way anymore. You're not like, how do I get to this planet? Like, your connection is through the Force and beings you know and other beings. So that's why like
he's able to just pop up.
Like Yoda didn't know Luke was on Endor, and neither did Obi-Wan, and there they are with Anakin. Like, oh, Luke, you destroyed and saved the universe, and apparently not 30 years later. But I mean, so I mean, like, it's like a different kind of thing. It's, you're connected to what made you. You're not.
We'll see.
You're not like a GPS.
We'll see.
I can imagine Yoda like that just floating through the galaxy, like I'm almost to him. I was right here somewhere.
You have 20 minutes to your destination.
But yeah, I'm just curious. Like, I think because it's the last movie.
In that series.
Of the series. And it's potentially the last movie of the Skywalker saga. Completely.
How do you know?
Because they keep insinuating, and I think they might have even blatantly said that.
They said that Celebration was going to be in Anaheim, so nothing is anything.
Well, that was a rumor. No, I think Kathleen Kennedy or somebody at Lucasfilm deliberately stated like they're tying up the Skywalker saga as in what we've seen so far now. So they could, like,
but she's not a Skywalker.
No, exactly, but Ben Solo is. So that's still part of the Skywalker
So she offs him and goes on to her own 3-movie series.
So that's what I'm saying, like, it seems like, regardless of what plot twists take place, the core of 9 is killing or redeeming Ben Solo. And then I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a little thing in there, like there is another Skywalker, because there's always another one.
You never know.
But they have insinuated, and I think, like I said, I believe they've even flat out stated that, like, this is tying up the Skywalker series, but they say it like in a way like as we know it, to where they're not. It's like close the book in the middle instead of at the end. You're saying it's the end, but you word it in a way that you can make more of these one day if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I tell you, man.
But like, do you waste that? Do you waste the last 2 to 2.5 hours of screen time you get on just exposition of how Rey built her lightsaber?
No, but let's just hope someone writes a good story.
No, they won't do that though.
No, I don't think so.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, if it's, I think
the movie could start with her building.
Yeah.
Like, either it'll start with her building it, or it'll be built like because they'll do something because 7 and 8 happened like completely exactly the same. Like, it was 7 end credits, 8 happens like that.
Well, the way
so 9 could happen a few months later, and by that time she just has a lightsaber, and they're just on the run or whatever. Because
we never know. Anyways,
I'm so sick of those movies now, though. Not in a mean way, because I want to see a functioning galactic republic rebuilt after the Vader era, and they don't even do that. Like, Episode 7, there's a republic, they blow it up without us even getting to know it, and then there's rebels again. Like, it's a nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
because all of them die at the end of 8, except for like Leia, Rey, Finn, Poe, and like a handful of nameless soldiers on the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Like, there's like 10 people left in the Resistance.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
I'm hoping
that's all they need.
I'm just hoping that either somebody awesome or Lando is the people in the Outer Rim that they were allies.
We never know. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Radio Geonosis.
Woo.
Yeah. You can check us out on Facebook. We're on
and
iTunes.
iTunes,
YouTube.
CastBox.
Yes.
Search Radio Geonosis. Instagram.
Yes. Looky for us.
We're somewhere everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even at Disneyland.
Yeah, that's right. We're sprinkled everywhere. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.